Remember when Nicolas Cage had CGI abs and played Ghost Rider before the MCU even happened? I remember that. I saw that movie twice on opening day because it was the coolest shit ever when you're only 8 years old. Now it's like, it's alright.
Ghost with your ride. My man's ghost on fire. Ghost.
How the hell do you make a thumbnail and video title to get people to watch a random review of the PS2 Ghost Rider game which isn't relevant in the slightest? I have no idea. Maybe if this was 2015 I could have pulled it off, but this one's capping out at 45k and I'm going to have to live with that. This review was requested on my Patreon by Pushan Bhattacharya, whose name I'm terrified I'll mispronounce. I looked it up and I'm like pretty sure I got it.
Pushin.
Bhattacharya.
If you would like to support me on Patreon, it's only $1, and that would help me recoup the loss of time, money, and sanity after this video fails spectacularly like all my other uploads lately.
Ready for my pen and stare?
Ghost Rider is the story of a motorcycle stuntman who makes the deal with Satan to save the life of a loved one, only for it to blow off his face, and have his body possessed by a guy named Zarathos, who I wish would have a fight with these three characters because flaming skeletons are sick! Now Johnny Stuntbike and his flaming bones fight evil at night and piss fire in poorly marketed pseudo-sequels. Here's a PS2 game about it based on that movie. They couldn't get the rights to Nicolas Cage's face, so instead Johnny Blaze occasionally looks like James Franco in this motion comic art for the cutscenes. Nothing spells quality in a video game like cutscenes with a motion comic style. Infamous gets a free pass. The rest of you are uninvited to my birthday party. This game's like a weird God of Cry, Devil May War mashup clone where Ghost Rider whips demons with a chain with the power of heck. You got your strong attacks and light attacks and impractical spinning moves that look so damn cool. Johnny B. Lazy swings his chain like a ghost of Sparta, but he's also got a hellfire shotgun like in the movie. And with a few big screen clearing attacks, he's a pretty tough guy. I think this game's satanic energy is too strong and opened a portal to hell that let the demons into my PS3 controller. Because me joystick started fucking up something fierce, lad. Then it just broke and now that controller won't charge or turn on anymore, so I gotta use like the kind of shitty broken other one, and the new ones I bought took 3 weeks to get her in the mail. Combat's pretty fun, though it has the same button-mashy repetition problem that most character action beat-em-ups like this suffer from, but you know what, this game does a good job mixing it up with the enemy variations to keep you on your toes. Like these irritating bat things that are a lot faster, or these guys that shoot projectiles, and of course big mini-boss monsters, and yeah. You also get some nice variation in moves as you upgrade, and it doesn't take ridiculously long to afford those upgrades. Oh, yeah, you know, I'm talking about this as if this is something special and unique. Literally every game like this is designed that way. Or at least the competent ones. This game's competent. I like how you can upgrade your health bar to be as long as a boss character and take up a silly amount of the screen. That's always fun. The enemies work in a gameplay sense, but their designs are all just generic demons. You could put these guys in a Spawn game or in the Netherrealm levels of Shaolin monks and they wouldn't look out of place in either. They're just the same hell dwellers you've seen a million times before. I feel like they could have pulled more interesting demon designs from the books to have something more badass and comic booky, but they seem to have reserved that for the boss characters. Eventually the enemy variation slows down about midway through and it does start to feel pretty tedious. A cutscene will tell you where you have to go next in the story with some sense of urgency.
I have to reach the church.
But it'll take 2 hours of punching monsters to get to that location, and by the time you get there, you forgot why you cared. The pacing could use some work. If a video game tells me I need to get to a location, it either A, needs to be the main focus of the entire game, with many interesting sub-areas along the way with a reasonable justification for why it takes so long to get there, or B, I need to get there in 20 minutes. Anything in between feels like busy work. The first boss of this game is Ghost Rider's Venom equivalent, Vengeance, who is a guy with the same powers and costume as the hero, but he's bulkier and has a sharp monster mouth. Actually, him and Venom hung out once. You fight him as well as the villain Blackout in a race sequence, and neither of these are particularly memorable. I would have preferred to fight them hand to hand. There's also Lilith, a demon lady who you fight on the back of a peculiarly large moving train. She's got another game coming out where she's the main villain soon. Card-based? No, thank you, sir. And you also fight Scarecrow.
Beat up on old Scarecrow.
The Marvel one. The guy who has a surgical implant that gives him pheromones that can trigger panic attacks in people close by to him. I guess they had to get DC back for the Aquaman Namor thing eventually. Actually, they rip each other off all the time. They practically take turns. Really? Come on! The final boss, of course, is Blackheart, except they don't puss out of showing his monster form like the movies did. Oh hey, this boss fight is one of those! You know those. It's one of those! I love those! In an ironic way, I guess. Speaking of the racing segments, they didn't forget the rider part of Ghostman, so there's these looping racetracks where you have to kill the enemies to progress, or more linear ones where you just have to get from point A to point B without getting killed by these alien racers. The greatest enemy of Ghost Rider's progress, though, is his own nervous shakes, where he'll occasionally veer off into a wall and ragdoll worse than Nico Bellic in the Source engine. The races aren't boring or anything, but sometimes I found myself just trying to ram into walls and obstacles at top speed to see what the funniest possible wipeout could be. Here's some highlights of that. God damn! I mean, in all fairness, he doesn't have any meat on his bones, so he probably would tumble like that after a huge impact. He's just like floating magic bones connected by demonic hellfire. He doesn't have any cartilage, he'd probably float like that. That's realistic. This game's story is sort of a non-entity. It's really short cutscenes spliced into about 4.5 hours of gameplay that mildly explain where you're going and what you're doing. Basically, Mephisto is losing control of his demons, who are now rampaging on Earth, and he asks Ghost Rider to help rein them in, which he reluctantly kind of does because he was going to go after them anyway, so, you know, whatever, might as well. This takes place after the movie, so a lot of the rogue demons running around want to resurrect Blackheart by stealing his body and doing some magic on it after Nicolas Cage fried his brain. And then out of nowhere, for no real reason, Blade also shows up in the story to help out. This is fucking Blade! Look, holy shit, he's Blade! Ice skating uphill. That's unexpected and weird and pretty cool. I always like to believe all pre-MCU Marvel movies took place in a shared universe together, so this sort of backs that up in a teeny tiny way. Though Blade doesn't help you in gameplay, he appears in cutscenes and helps you save the world by killing the demons who stole Blackheart's body and helping to hide it away. Once you've beaten the game, on New Game Plus you can actually play as Blade, and he's not a reskin either, he's got his own moveset and everything. So you can sort of pretend this is a Blade game too if you want, just with unrelated cutscenes about Ghost Rider. Eventually the Ghost Rider finishes some really monotonous demon slaying and penning a few pop songs that he'll make some nice royalties off of, only to find out that Mephisto, the trickster Satan, has tricked him. Delightfully devilish. He wants the demons to run rampant on Earth, and Ghost Rider has been accidentally drawing a giant glyph on the surface of the planet with the path he's been driving all day that'll create a hell portal. God, that's pretty convenient, Mephisto. What if he, like, veered off the side to go get, like, a burger or something, or maybe he needed to take a pee break? We know he does that. This plan has some holes, Mephisto. Much like most of your plans, you in Spider-Man ruining face. Told everyone to read it. I thought it was really good. It started strong. It was good for the first like little bit, and I was really excited, and then it just kept going. It's not my fault. It turned out like this. It's not my fault. I didn't do this. I didn't do this. I didn't do this. And then Blackheart shows up alive and well, even though he was dead and Blade hid him somewhere. How, why, when, doesn't matter. We needed a final boss, so don't ask questions, idiot. Then not Nicolas Cage, and his weird Nicolas Cage impression.
You okay?
I am now. Was that?
Yeah, Mephisto.
Is he gone?
For now.
Take the girl and ghost ride off into the sunset. she's gonna jump his bones. He's a pretty hot guy. Game's alright, nothing spectacular, but it's not bad. We'll call it slightly above average. Was that positive enough for you guys in the comments that always go, "Bruh, this game was my childhood, how could you diss on this?" in any review of a game older than 2016? No? Well, fuck off either way. If you can find a way to run a PS2 copy of this, or the PSP version, it's a simple but decent game about Ghost Rider, and since his fans are starved for any kind of content right now, it might be a fun diversion. Here's my contribution to hashtag SpawnTimber. Now, I know Spawn isn't exactly the same thing as Ghost Rider, but, well, let's be honest with ourselves, they're pretty similar.